peoples that are going to be watching this in the future, because there's nobody currently watching it right now. But I mean, it is Friday at what 11:22, 23 Mountain Time. I'm tired. Definitely tired. Especially like doing stuff this week that I haven't really been doing for a while. It's got me really exhausted again. I don't know. I gotta figure out tax stuff too, because with the whole YouTube thing, haven't really done that yet. But because I make money off YouTube now, so that's fun. It's one of the reasons why. I mean, not the only reason why, but one of the reasons why I continue to do videos, even though I love the community and I love doing what I do. Um, yeah. I do want to say something though. Is lately it's been a little rougher for me, and especially of after my bout of COVID. I'm dealing with some post-COVID issues. Don't get me wrong. Like I am, and I've known that because my brain has always been somewhat foggy, but it's a lot worse now after having COVID, and it's not exactly a fun time concerning that. Like unfortunately, it's one of the things that made me lose a friendship. Somebody who I was very close with for a while, although our relationship for a while has been a little rocky, but to be honest, it's just how it goes, right? But I hope that, that she's doing well and everything, and yeah, it's just a lot of things I can't really remember anymore like I used to. Like even spelling of simple words at times just won't happen. It'll be like just a fog in my head, like, and it'll read through stuff, and it's like my AD, like, the only thing I can describe for like reading stuff is my ADD. When it used to be really bad, that I could not focus, and I had to listen to music to focus on the words that are on my that I'm reading, because that was actually a thing for a while. I had to listen to music to do it. It's one of the ways how I got through school, actually, in junior high and high school. Because if I didn't have that, I would have flunked out, guaranteed. Like, and I graduated, grade 12, and with just minimum marks and stuff like that. Yeah, so a few years ago now. That was what, 2015? Yeah, I think it was not 2015, 2016. God, it was so long ago. But yeah. Anyways, there's nobody here yet watching this, but I don't know. I have been working on the car a little more though. Or, I mean, not much, to be honest. Like, I was playing around a little bit with it today. Not Stitch. Lilo, the convertible. I haven't really touched Stitch in a while. I haven't had to touch Stitch, though. That's been the nice part. Stitch, I can get in her, she'll fire it up. I mean, it might take a couple of attempts, but still, it'll fire right up. Lilo will do the same thing, but a little differently concerning her. Because, well, I still don't have an air cleaner on the car either, so, there's that whole thing, which it's kind of funny, actually, because earlier, driving the car, and the temperature just spikes on the gauge. Like, after a while, it took quite a while for it to do that. But, do that, and it just slowly, like, creeps up, and then it's, like, pegged completely. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I shut it off. Like, I pull into a parking lot, shut it off, pop the hood, and I'm looking, not seeing any steam, anything like that. So I'm like, okay. So this thing's not actually overheating. It's just this thing is pegged, right? So, and what can cause that is a bad sensor, or there's air in the system, specifically like an air pocket where the sensor is, which is causing it to do that. It can give false readings that way. So, to kind of combat that, what I'm gonna do tomorrow, because it's supposed to be a little nicer, I'm going to take the temperature sensor off and see if, is there any coolant within that coolant passage there. If not, well, put some coolant in there, see what happens, right? And now that's not an intake runner because, where that's going, that's a coolant passage for the intake. Too bad I didn't have a bore scope, because if I had a bore scope, I could actually look at, seeing, okay, if any coolant passages are potentially blocked when it comes to at least what I could see through that area. Because I'm thinking it's an air pocket, but it could be blocked coolant passages as well. And yeah, honestly, I hate cooling systems. I'm not upset at the car or anything. But I am just at a point of, I don't know. I wish the car was better right now, obviously. Because once it is better, and then once I have my money that's going to come in later this month, I'll be able to go up to Edmonton and we can put all the parts on the car. Do the headers, the distributor, the carb spacer, change out the valve cover gaskets, change out the, basically just do all the gaskets that we can without doing an entire disassembly, and it would make a pretty decent video for you guys too. So, yeah, overnight though, my rad install video is going to be up, because even though it's not technically fully done, the video is done enough to where it can be put out and no big deal. I've edited it all together and it works. So, hope you guys do enjoy that when that comes out. Like I said, that'll be available sometime in the morning, most likely, because I'll start uploading that once I'm done this video here. Let's see, what else is there? There's some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline of, in the summertime, of being able to do stuff, because, I'm going to be getting a bunch of money here, which is going to help fund a lot of stuff. It's going to be able to fund more videos, going to be able to fund more trips, and overall, it's going to be fantastic. There will be some flip videos in there. I'll be able to go to people's collections of cars. I'll be able to, review more cars and stuff like that, because money has always been a hindrance, but that won't be a thing for too much longer. So that'll be nice once I have that money in. And it's going to be quite a bit of money that'll last me quite a long time. Because some of it's going to go off to paying my car and my credit card, but then the rest of it is going to be, just invested. Right? Invested in my channel, invested in just making more money, all that different stuff. And it's honestly a really good thing. And I'll show you guys some tips and tricks, because I have flipped a few things. I flipped... My first ever flip was actually kind of a rare motorcycle. It was a 2007 Kawasaki ZX-14. Now, if you've never heard of that bike, it's actually a very rare bike. This one was crashed, and all I had was the frame, the front suspension, the front wheel, and part of the handlebars. That was it. Then, on Facebook, actually, a guy saw that I had bought it, and he messages me and goes, "Hey, I have a bunch of parts for that bike. If you want them, you can have them for free." And I'm like, "Cool, what do you have?" And he said, "Oh, I've got the wiring harness for it. I've got the rear subframe for it, and there was a couple other things that he had for it." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely take those." And then afterwards, it was funny because when I bought this thing, I bought it off a scrapper for $100, and I figured I've got to be able to make money on this. Oh yeah, as well, he had the header for it too, so I got the header out of the deal, which, I I thought it was damaged. Turns out it wasn't. It's actually how they are from the factory with these dents in them. Just so that it clears some of the frame and whatnot. But this bike, these things were so fast that they were actually outlawed in some areas because they were that fast and that dangerous. So it was kind of a cool bike to kind of, I took it apart as best as I could. I didn't have the proper tools for it. That's actually where I bought my one toolkit, which might be time to look at another toolkit because I keep losing some tools. So, it happens, right? If I cleaned up, I could probably find the tools. But, it's just one of those deals. But yeah, so that was my first flip. I bought it for $100. Then I bought my toolkit for, I think it was $80. And then I sold it for $350, right? So I not quite double my money, but pretty close. And I was only 16, 17 at the time. So that was actually a pretty nice little chunk of change for me. It took me a few months, but got it sold all to one guy. It was nice. And then later on, see, and I didn't flip anything for quite a while after that. Because, like, the next thing that I flipped, yeah, actually, come to think of it, it would have been the truck. Actually, no, sorry, it was the Mustang. The 83 Coupe, right? That car, I bought it as a parts car initially. Put it together, I took some of the parts off of it and started selling them. And then I actually took the seats out of it and the carpet from my car, plus the rear defrost switch. Right? So that went over pretty well for that. And then I bought it for $350, and I think I cleared like $280 a profit on it. So, it was pretty good in the end. And then I found the car in the junkyard a few months ago, actually, and I pulled the rear glass out of it. And which is currently being made into rear window louvers for Stitch. So that'll be really awesome when I can have those louvers on the car. And because these are aluminum that are going to be powder coated. Oh, hey! It is good old Sean in the chat. Haven't seen him on a live, and God, I don't even know how long. Excluding lives on his channel. See, I would have you up here, but you know how it goes with this stupid thing of being on my phone. But, yeah, no, I've been here talking to myself the entire time. That's fair. I mean, I don't know. You sensed that I was doing a live all by myself, and then you wanted to come over. That's why you're awake. But yeah, I mean, like, I could go to bed right now. Absolutely, I could. But I kind of want to upload a video first, which I'll probably just upload it overnight and then have it available in the morning when I get up. So, and share it all around. I definitely am. It's just one of these things that it's weird. I haven't gone this long in a live ever without having some people in here. Usually I have like 2 or 3 minimum, but yeah, you're the only one, so I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, because actually, like, I was talking about some of the stuff that I've flipped and whatever else. And see, that's the one thing that I can do compared to most people, because like you struggle with it, and most people do, of being able to hold a conversation without anybody there. Oh yeah, there has been a lot on my mind. That's true. But also like something else too is ever since having that bout of COVID that I had, my brain has been a little foggier than normal. Like, even though my brain wasn't the best beforehand, it's worse now. Which is something I have come to realize about that. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm forgetting, and even like simple words and whatever else, and yeah. But it's okay, you know. Unfortunately, that I think that lost me one of my friendships that I had, which you saw that post on Facebook. But, yeah, it's you know it is sad, and I hope she's doing well and everything. But you know, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, and I've been you know kind of overwhelmed in my head concerning that, and then about the car. Although that's not actually upsetting me. That's the interesting part. And I can drive that car. Actually, I'm sure I could take that thing on a road trip and it'd be no issues. Of Lila, which oddly enough is the only car with gas right now, which is kind of funny that I filled that one up and not the other one. But hey, it is what it is. Um, with gas going through the roof right now because of the stuff happening in the Ukraine. But yeah, like the thing is, because what's going on with the car? I mean, you saw my post too. Of hey, is the you know that temperature was spiking, and I put a video up on TikTok and on YouTube as well of it doing that, and it's running fine. That's the funny part, and it's not actually overheating. I think what it is a little air pocket there that is making the sensor go all the way up. Some of them, yeah. You know, because like, yeah, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Because like, I filled up the other day. I put in, I think it was like 47 liters in my car. I don't know what that is in gallons. Don't ask me. But I put that in my car, and it came up to what was that? 40? No, it was like $65, I think, something like that. Which is just like holy crap. Usually, I can fill my entire tank for like 65 when it's like empty before all this. And I mean, it is a little late, yeah. It's definitely true, old school. It is a little late, but hey, I've done lives at like 2 in the morning, my time, and I've had people from, you know, yeah, oh, definitely. Like, even here in town, I mean, they've gone up to a $1.56, which I have actually never seen here in Alberta gas prices that high. Even when they went skyrocketing back, and I think that was like 2012, 2013, it still wasn't that high. We got to like buck 38, buck 40, but you know, and I'm so glad that I filled up when it was a buck 46 the other day, and not now when it's a buck 57. Because it did that like overnight. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm not a fan of this at all. Luckily though, I don't have to go anywhere. And whenever I do, well, it's usually in my dad's car, and he's the one paying for the gas, so it's kind of a win that way, you know, at times. But I am lucky that way that, you know, I can, if I need to, drive his car. But like right now, because yeah, and when I hopefully I can get that straightened out tomorrow with Lilo, get heat back in the car and everything, because I'm pretty sure it's just an air pocket. So, oh, nice. That'll be cool. Yeah. Hopefully it goes really well for you this time around, and tell Chris not to break his truck again, or his trailer, or the winch. Because I swear, it's like every single time he helps you, something of his breaks. Every time. But yeah, I hope it goes well. And yeah, do let me also do let us know if you know if the live is not going to happen tomorrow. It's shit like that happens. And yeah, I mean the one thing is with I understand of all the sanctions going on to Russia because it makes sense of you know why. It is kind of sad though with some of the stuff of what's going on concerning these sanctions. It's like really affecting the Russian. people that have nothing to do with this war at all. That they're just the citizens there, because a lot of them like are losing a lot of money from this. They're not able to like access banks that well. They have to use cash for everything, and yeah. Well, if not, let me know because I know last time you were a little late. So I will mention that on my end, I'll only be there for about an hour. Unless if I'm the only one there, then I'll transfer it here to the living room. But I'll be watching the game. My dad will be in the background. That sort of thing. Like you've seen it before. So, um, man, actually, I didn't see that. Yeah, see, I have heard that like a lot of the social media. Um, but also like unless if it's and like Russia has banned actually any if you put out any news that isn't from like share a post that isn't from official Russian news sites or things, you can actually be fined and go to prison for it right now. Like I feel so bad for them. Oof. Yeah, see, there's a lot of things going on right now with that, and people aren't able to leave, and you can't speak up against if you're in Russia, you can't speak up against the government because you will face fines or go to prison even. Right? It is just horrible, and I hope this ends soon, and yeah, that everything can go back to normal again. It's not going to, but I hope it does because it really does pain me to hear of all the stories that are coming out of there. Although there's a lot of like with this though, there's a lot of like inspiration of what the Ukrainian people are doing and fighting back against Russia. That's like the superpower right in the world, and Ukraine isn't like a superpower that way. They have money, but that's about it. They don't have like a big military force or anything like that, although they are very well trained. Um, so yeah, and they're accepting volunteers as long as you have some sort of experience. Though you don't necessarily have to have like military experience, but they're accepting volunteers, like for people to come in to the country to fight if you have any sort of even like if you know guns at all, they will. So it is possible, Sean. That is definitely possible. And I mean, the one thing is right now, I wouldn't be shocked though if this leads to World War III because it's on the brink of that happening. Like with the situation, because the one thing is NATO isn't getting involved, but they're gonna get involved because the thing is once Russia is done with the Ukraine, because eventually they're gonna stop, and then they're going to keep going through. And because he's trying to like Putin is trying to restore the USSR, right? That's exactly what he's trying to do of majority of those countries, because and little do people remember back in 2007 Russia actually took over Georgia, which was again part of the USSR, and then that they took just a couple of years ago they took Crimea back in I think it was 2017, and 2017 2018 something like that, and then yeah now they're digging their claws into Ukraine. And the reason why, because people are trying to figure out why is Russia doing this to the Ukraine right now, and it's actually because of the mineral wealth that is within, or essentially mineral wealth, but like the gas wealth that is within that, right? Oh, that's true, but there's more to it than just the land. Because here's the thing, I watched. There's a guy that did an incredible breakdown of why they're doing this on YouTube. I can send you the link if you want. It's like 32 minutes long, but it's so worth a watch because the guy breaks down, okay, why is this actually going on other than just the land? Because there's more to it than just the land. Uh, because of all the gas reserves that are there, if because like majority of Russia's um sorry, majority of Europe's gas, like natural gas, comes from Russia through pipelines and stuff like that. Now the thing is, if the Ukraine was able to tap into all of their gas in the off the peninsula and stuff like that, it could undermine Russia and its economy. Even though he's kind of already done that with what he's doing right now, and it could have totally crippled Russia. And as well, they invaded now rather than a little later because they didn't want the Ukraine to be a part of NATO. And because once they joined NATO, then they were SOL because that would easily cause World War III. So, I mean, and I find that kind of ironic that they say because it's too corrupt. Do you think any of the countries that are part of NATO that aren't corrupt? Because they all are. Like that's the funny part. When anybody says that, every single country is corrupt in their own way, and it doesn't matter where it is. You know, like look at the United States; it's very corrupt. Canada is even corrupt too. You know, any of those European countries, again, they're also corrupt as well. That's the funny part. You can even look at Switzerland, which might be the closest to being not corrupt. They're still corrupt in their own way, right? And that's the thing. You know, and there's a lot of fake stories that are coming out to say that, you know, of how bad Ukraine is, when realistically, it's not quite as bad as what there's a lot of stories making it out to be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like the thing is, if China decides to fully back Russia in a war, it's gonna get ugly pretty quick. Um, like, actually, Russia would have a tough time trying to survive just off of trading off of China and India. Only reason why is because the ruble has crashed hard. Um, but why am I still awake? It's not even midnight yet. It is 10 to 12, so yeah. But, you know, I'm usually up till around 1, 2 in the morning anyway, so it's one of those deals. Um, but, I mean, I don't know if I could see them surviving, because, like, they're going to have to stop, or something is going to have to prop up their economy, because they're, with all the sanctions going on right now, which are not going to stop until they leave Ukraine, and even then, there's still going to be some sanctions in place after that. Because the ruble is worth next to nothing right now. And that's the one thing. They try and trade, well, their currency is worth nothing. You know, there's going to be hyperinflation, and what could actually happen from this is Russia could actually have a collapse similar to when the USSR fell back in '92, and you know, it could actually they could lose more land again, and it's not. It wouldn't shock me actually if that happened. So, yeah, it's one of these deals where I don't know. I've been trying to pay attention as close as I can to the situation, but fair enough, Ryan. Well, okay. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, pretty much what Brian just said right there. The one thing is, technology-wise, the UK, Canada, and the US have way better technology than what China and Russia have. China and Russia have the size of the military, yes, but they're not the best trained either. So there's that. But well, I mean, the one thing is, Russia hasn't actually been isolated necessarily because they have, the War Pact, right? The War Pact or Warsaw Pact. That's what I have to say. Of there's a few countries involved in that, and some pretty heavy hitters too with that. But we'll see. Yeah, like, and that's the one thing because Russia are using tanks and equipment and weapons that were built back in the 50s and 60s, right? Mopar, not. I'm not gonna get into that right now. To be honest, with Canada, like I, I am not a fan of Trudeau by any stretch of the imagination, but I could care less about what the fuck is going on with him compared to what's going on in the Ukraine, because that is so minor compared to that. Like, because yeah, and I try not to do political stuff on my channel, but with the Ukraine situation, I do got to get a little political, just because I do feel for the situation there, right? Um, and yeah, because I try not to yeah sorry, my brain, you know, but yeah, and exactly, like, you can have manpower and whatever else, but you have to be trained and maintain your stuff. Um, I did hear about that with North Korea, so that is a little scary too. But yeah, and like the thing is, because you look at, okay, Russia's main battle tank is the T-72. Now the thing is, the T-72, it's actually a pretty decent tank. Don't get me wrong, but if you compare it to an Abrams or a Leopard, it's nowhere close. It's cheaper, yeah. That's all it has on it, though. Um, uh, for durability and as well with just technology and stuff like that, yeah, the leopard, which Canada uses and majority of Europe uses. Um, yeah, and the one thing is too, because like with Canada right now, they're weighing out the pros and cons of actually just abandoning the F-35 project and buying the F-35, as opposed to buying Gripens, because the Gripen is actually a better plane overall. You know, it costs less to maintain. It has better maneuverability and whatever else, and it's a lot cheaper too. So, um, see, the T-90 does, yeah, but they don't use the T-90 quite as much. It seems like it seems like the T-72 is more of their main battle tank at the moment. At least that I've seen. I could be wrong though. I haven't seen very many T-90s though, compared to T-72s in the military. Oh, you're not. I mean, it takes both. So, see, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a problem, because the one thing is, the countries that they're getting the parts from are all allies, part of NATO. So that's fine, right? Canada does the same thing. Like, I wouldn't. It's one thing if it was a sketchy partner, but it's not. Yeah, and the A10 Warthog is such a badass plane. Like, the thing is, and it's funny because with the F-35 project, they have said that the F-35 was going to replace basically all the planes. You know, the F-18, the F-22, and the A-10 Warthog. When going, nothing is going to replace that A-10. They just won't be able to. Um, but you know, and the A10 is just badass. I have seen and heard them in person firing their guns, and it's just incredible. There was an A10 Warthog demonstration actually at the Alberta International Air Show in Lethbridge, and I was working security actually that time, or I was volunteering for security. I only lasted the one day though, because how they were running things was just awful, so I didn't do it the second day. Um, but because like my first time doing it, and they put me at the gates for the main runway, and they didn't give me a radio, and I didn't really have any contact with anybody else. It was such a terrible setup. But you know, it's fine. I got through it. Yeah, oh I know, but the thing is, yeah, it just did. But when they were because that happened not that long ago. The thing is, when they were first developing the F-35, they said, yeah, it's gonna replace the A-10 Warthog, the F-22, and the F-18. They said that. Now they've realized, wait, we can't actually replace the A-10 because nothing can. Literally, like you could just keep building the A-10 though. Yeah. Oh, like, and I understand. Like, the thing is with the F-18s, because pretty soon they're going to have to be dismantled. Just because of the airframes, right? Yeah, most of them do. There are a few planes, like for example, the one that defies all odds for planes still being in service is the B-52, especially because you look at the B-52, that was only supposed to last about 20 years. It's been like 60. Like it's insane, and they still use the B-52 bomber. Oh yeah, like, and that's the one thing. If you try and make one plane to replace all of your planes, you're not going to be able to do that no matter what because they all have their purpose that's entirely different from each other. So, yeah, you can't just build a plane to do that. Yeah, see, and that just blows my mind that the B-52 is going to be close to 100 years in service. Like, by the time it's over, it's going to be like, I think 92 when it's all said and done, I believe, is the year range. And it's just like, oh my god. Like, and the thing is, it's still an effective plane, like bomber, but still. And I understand a bomber can be used for a lot longer than, say, a fighter jet, because a fighter jet turns more G's and goes a lot faster, which deteriorates the airframes quicker and stuff like that. So I understand why, but it just blows my mind that they're still using it. And it's not like they've built any more; they're still using the same ones. So yeah, that's true too. They the bombers tend to get a lot less flight time compared to the fighter jets, the interceptors, and whatever else. So yeah, it is. It still just boggles my mind, and like, and the one thing is in Canada, um, like, because we're looking to obviously replace the F-18s, and the choice is the F-35 or the Gripen. The Gripen is just a hell of a lot cheaper, and basically does what an F-35 can, but for like a third of the cost. So, you know, Yeah, but the one thing is, Moparnut, is as soon as somebody fires off one of those, this is going to be like the Cold War all over again. Once somebody fires off a nuke at an actual target, kiss those planes or kiss the world goodbye. That's mutually assured destruction, right? Because yeah, that won't work out. Because yeah, there's one thing about testing nukes, because North Korea's been doing that, but I think every country knows that if they actually fire at a target, like a proper target that isn't just testing, they're fucked, and everybody on the planet is fucked. So that's the scary part about all this, right? And there's so many countries that have ICBMs now. Old school, we don't have nukes. Canada doesn't have nukes. So. Oh yeah, like the one thing is, any of those nukes that went off, like they would be shot out of the sky before they got here, definitely. But still, uh, you do realize that the long detection services or long detection devices that we have nowadays, oh yeah, you can see those nukes coming from way out, and you don't even have to have a plane shoot it down. There are automated defenses that'll do it for you. See, and the one thing is that people like underestimate the Canadian military, 100%. Because the thing is, you know that a lot of Europe's forces actually get trained through Canada, same as the U.S. forces too. Um, the Canadian military may not be super large like some of the other ones, but one of the better trained militaries out there. So, that depends. And the one thing is though, with the because the thing is with any nuke though, the chemical reaction has to happen for the nuke to actually go off. Otherwise, if you just blow it out of the sky, the nuke doesn't actually go off, and it doesn't release any radiation. So that's the interesting part. Exactly. Oh yeah, and you know, and the one thing is, like, and Canada is starting to get better with like some of the technologies too, right? Now we don't have aircraft carriers, and we don't have much of a navy, but we do have some. We have planes, and we have ground troops that are very well trained. So yeah, and that's one of these deals that you know it's pretty awesome. And like, and the interesting part is, if you look at the history of Canada, is Canada has never declared war on anyone that they haven't won the war. So that's kind of the interesting part. It's one of the few countries that haven't lost a war, and but the U.S. have lost many. Now there are some wars that Canada has been a part of where you know has been on the losing side, but technically speaking, we followed the U.S. into those wars, so it's not quite the same. Well, the one thing is actually a lot of equipment will survive nukes. Like not the actual explosion force, but the radiation itself will be fine. Um, eh, you really want to say that, Sean? Uh, Vietnam War of 1812. Those are just two right off the top of my head. Because there's a reason why, that the The border's at the 49th parallel, not the 52nd. Yeah, and actually Korea as well. Like, there's been quite a few that, like, and if you want to say that, yeah, America's never lost a war, Korea is one of the best examples of that because if you look, what's the city of Saigon called right now? And that's all because, yeah, you guys lost. So, though Canada was a part of that too. But the thing is, Canada followed the United States into that war. And because Canada officially hasn't actually declared war on anybody for quite a long time. When's the last time I done that? I mean, I will say I've never done that, but yeah. Well, and also just remember, yeah, because the War of 1812. It's one of those things that it's interesting what Americans are actually taught with some of the wars and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people that say they've never lost a war, but actually, yeah, you've lost a few. Don't get me wrong, the majority of wars that you've entered, you've won. However, you've still lost a few. So yeah, but Canada never lost a war. Oh, see me. His kings are there, gold knights are there. But yeah, it's you know, and with talking about like EMPs and stuff like that. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, an EMP could do a lot of damage when it comes to the technologies that we have in countries and stuff like that. Yeah, but and the thing is, I've never officially killed anything, like shooting it, but I know how to shoot a gun, and I know people that can as well actually, or at least teach me how to butcher an animal. My dad knows how to do it. My friend Greg, he went to school for being a butcher and stuff like that. Well, see, that an EMP actually, if you don't have an ECU, you're fine when it comes to your vehicle, because like even an electronic distributor or like a electronic don't get me wrong, it's better if you have points, yes, but you don't need to go into a magneto for that. There you go. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, a lot of the military vehicles are at least capable of withstanding an EMP without having anything disrupted. But that's why one of the things is though I drive what I drive. It can. Oh yeah, it will. Um, like an electronic ignition. However, it shouldn't. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that electronic ignitions don't get knocked out through that. But if you have an ECU, you're screwed. You've never shot a gun? Oh, that is so shameful. Mind you, I've only shot a 22, but still. You know, the war on drugs, you'll never win, ever. So yeah, hmm, well, fair. So, and the one thing is, like, I would, but in that situation, okay, if that ever happens, I mean, the Civic will be on the road, and the Civic has a points and condenser, so it's totally fine. Anyways, old school. Hope you enjoy. And Brian, what about the Barrett 50 cal? I'm curious why you mentioned that. And you're not wrong on that either. That all started back in you know, with Nixon. So for you guys, anyways. Because yeah, and actually, a lot of the places that have decriminalized drugs, like crime rate has gone way down. So you actually carried a Barrett for 10 years in the military. Wow, that's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but actually, what was I gonna say? I forget what I was gonna say. Whoops. Hey, no worries, Sean. I definitely appreciate you coming to the live stream. I hope it all goes well for you, and I'll chat to you later. PMI 8 and I. Well, like, the thing is, I've only ever seen one gun in person. Oh, you were the marksman instructor? Wow. That I'm impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Because the thing is, I have seen uh one gun that actually fires that 50 BMG round, which is it was a Steyr at an auction. It was so freaking awesome to see that. And that thing sold for I think it was like $8,700. Plus, it came with 20 shells and dies for that price. It was incredible value. And now that gun is on the banned gun list here in Canada, even though nobody's going on a mass killing spree with a freaking Steyr 50 cal. I'll give you a break. And if you are, you're doing it for 2 miles out anyway. So what's the point? Exaggerating on the 2 miles out, but you know what I mean. No, exactly. Like, there is no point to using that gun to do that with. It's just absolutely useless for that. Like, if you want to kill a bunch of people, yeah, go use an AR-15. That's what you're gonna use, or use literally any other sniper rifle that isn't 40 fucking pounds. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, I can do more damage in less time with the hell. My dad has a freaking 22 rifle, you know. Yeah, well, a 25 millimeter, that'd be nothing left of most people. Like, and I'm sure a Barrett 50 cal like would just go right through you and make a giant gaping hole too. And I'm sure like that one mission in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare of when you're doing I think it's called All Gillied Up, I think. And where you're going through and doing all that stealth, and you have that Barrett 50 cal, and you blow off Makarov's arm with a Barrett 50 cal. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it would do that to you. But yeah, it is amazing, and the fact that that's one, like, anything that fires that 50 BMG is on the banned rifle list in Canada, which, although the stupid thing about that list, there are, if you look really closely at the, because I think there's like 3,500 guns or something like that on that list, but not all of them are guns. There's actually a couple of coffees on there because they're named after guns. Like, it's almost like they took autocorrect and be like, okay, ban everything. was so stupid. So stupid. Ugh. Ow. Ow. That hurt. Ah. But, yeah, I mean, one of these days I'll actually have my pal and get guns and stuff like that and have a lot of fun. Because the other day, it was actually yesterday, I was at a gun auction, so that was kind of fun. There are paintball guns on that list. I have seen that, yeah. There's coffee on that list. I saw that there was a crossbow on that list. You know, there's even some pellet guns on that list. Like, I'm sure I have actually here. I'm not getting rid of it though, because like, I'd have to really try to like kill somebody with that thing. To be honest, I have a. It's a pellet pistol, right? It looks like a Glock 15. But it shoots a 177 pel, right? Pretty basic, you know. It fires. Yeah, I'll show you because I've got some of them right here. I'm not gonna actually show it on camera, but that's kind of funny because, like, it shoots these little things, right? You know, and don't get me wrong, it can also fire metal BBs as well, but it shoots at 495 feet per second, and that's only if you have a fresh freaking cartridge in it of CO2. You know, I've had it actually. The 2000 or the 99 Mustang that I bought off Cody, oddly enough, it was actually in there, and I kept it. So, you know, because he's like, yeah, sure, you can keep it. It's like, cool. Because I let him know on that it was in there. But yeah, and that thing, it's fun to play with. And I'm careful with it. Because, you know, and it takes a CO2 cartridge, which is, actually, it's just right in behind my camera here. If I can do this properly. Here, let me prop that up like that. There we go. Because, yeah, I've got a bunch of CO2 cartridges, right? Like, and unless if it has one of these that are, like, fresh, you know, and you're not even going to fire at that 495. And that 495, it loses quite a bit of distance very quickly. And the thing is, in Canada, for anything to be considered a firearm, it has to be over 495 feet per second. So the fact that that's not a firearm, but there are, because it looks like a real gun, it could be on the banned gun list. Like, I'm not even going to look for it on there, because why? But I wouldn't be shocked if it's on that list. Like, what are they going to do? Like, they're not going to take it away from me. So, I don't care. Like, it's dumb, and they did that entire thing unlawfully, too. So, I'm not a fan of how the government did that. But it's fine. It's fine. Right? Yeah. Anyways, I'm starting to get tired here, and I do want to upload a video tonight, so I'm going to let y'all go. I definitely appreciate everyone coming out. This actually turned into a pretty good live stream, actually. One of my best in a while, because I haven't had a lot of things to say recently, so in my lives. So, and you guys made it a very good conversation, so I definitely appreciate it. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. As well, do feel free to check out actually Novitaz's live stream happening tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Mountain, and I'll be there And yeah, he'll be there. Team Mechanic might be there. Who knows? There might be some other people too. So yeah. Anyways, feel free to tune into that. Hope you guys stay safe during COVID-19. Good luck for the we're working on, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye. Pikachu.